What's up, everybody? My name is Jason, and welcome to Small Biz. In today's video, we're going to talk about why we are in the midst of the greatest secular bull market in human history. But the obvious question of this day is, what in the world's going to happen if they ever succeed in mortally wounding Trump? All that and more coming right up. That is some hot, bloody, terrific coffee, mate. DropBearCoffee.com. Tony, we love you. He's out in San Diego serving the Marines, Camp Pendleton. We appreciate their service. If you want to get some kick-ass motherfucking coffee, if you're tired of Folgers and Maxwell House, if you want to kick in the ass and you can actually use about half of it because it's got that much caffeine in it with an amazing fucking palate, you go to dropbearcoffee.com and you tell Tony that I sent you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, in 2017, I started the infamous flying cars and trips to motherfucking Mars. Because we are in the midst of the greatest secular bull market in human history. You could have bought the Qs, last trade 473 and change, as low as $110. When I was still in corporate America, I was telling all my buddies, you got to buy the market right now. The actual secular bull market started after the 2009 low. The prior two secular bulls, going all back to post-World War II, lasted 26 and 27 years respectively. If you pull up a 100-year chart on the S&P, it looks like this. Sideways for 10 or 15, up for 26 or 7, sideways as we did for much of the 2000s before we went off a cliff. We're now in the midst of another 26 or 7-year melt-up. So when I tweeted this morning, 2034 or 5 is the end of this secular bull, meaning we've got approximately another 10 years of, I don't know, another 4, 5, or 6x of this away, none of that away. So if you followed me in the last month buying the Qs as low as 421, the IWM as low as 197, and you grabbed your fucking nutsack, fellas, and you bought these stocks that we have in our core holdings that were way down, some of which, like one that starts with a K as in Kevin, are up almost 40% from their lows and going higher. But there's a big curveball coming, or a potential one, and we need to be prepared. But simply put, and I've said this before, so I'm going to say it again. Demographically, this is 1990. This is the boomers entering their peak earning and saving years, just like the millennials and the Gen Z and X are doing right now. This current group is twice as large as the boomers were in 1990. Back then, we had the Gulf War. Right now, we've got Russia and Ukraine. And if you know what the back half of the 90s were like, similar to what I believe 2030, as long as a certain person doesn't gain power with that crazy fucking gesticular guy, and you see his crazy wife, Mrs. Walls, with her rabbit cooker eyes. Oh, yeah. She reminded me of a female macho man. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. God help us all if they gain power. Because they're going to legalize 15 million illegals, let another 15 million in. The Republicans will never win a fucking election for the rest of my life. You need to wake the fuck up and realize, ladies and gentlemen, this is not about politics. It's not about left and right. It's about freedom versus slavery. And one side's going to get us there a hell of a lot quicker. The other side, the Trumpster, and maybe 8 years of Vance and DeSantis and Tulsi and Vivek and whoever else you want to throw in there will slow it down. But it's coming. It'll be here before we're dead. Which is why you got to get your fucking ass, like most of you will never do, inside of our private Discord community. There's going to be 500 people coming together as one. You can advertise your company if you got one. You can make more money in the stock market, and that's 2/3 of our members that have a Discord. They don't have a small business. They just want to make money and meet new friends from all over the world, 23 different countries. And you can buy 1 month, get the second month free at shopsmallbiz.com. Get a Discord if you don't have a small biz, premium if you do. But this is a massive secular bull market. Demographically, this is 1990. Back then, when I was a broker from 93 to 07, we didn't have massive multi-$100 corporate buybacks. We had the internet that Al Gore invented, But many think tanks, and I'm not going to mention the names because they're all corrupt, say that AI is going to be 2 to 3 times more powerful than the internet. And yes, I am on board with some guys, a left-wing hack like Reid Hoffman, who's saying that we are going to have a deflationary spiral going into the end of the secular bull market. True. The machines are going to replace, a quarter to a third of human capital. They're going to build it faster, cheaper, and sharper, and more efficiently than ever before. And the gap between the haves and the have-nots is going to be wider than it's ever been in human history. So if you got a small business and you're inside of our community and you give us a chance to take a genuine interest in your success, you got a chance. But if you've got a personality like a block of ice and you're going to be competing with AI channels, 50 to 75% will be AI driven. You've already seen them blow up on YouTube. They're going to have all the fancy graphics, the B-roll, the music. You won't be able to tell the difference by the time we get to the end of this, who's real and who's not. So if you're just going to sit there and feel sorry for yourself and smoke pot and never speak up, never speak out, never fucking stick your hand in the cookie jar or the hornet's nest, you're fucked. They want us weak and dumbed down. They want us compliant. What do you think they're against fucking guys like Andrew Tate? I'm not saying he's a perfect guy. He's not. He's a chauvinist pig, and he did some things a few years ago I'm certain he's not proud of. But guys like him and Elon and Joe Rogan and Tucker Carlson and women like Tulsi Gabbard, they know what's up. Half of this country doesn't. But if we're going to have 8 to 10 years of a melt up with AI and productivity and massive corporate buybacks, which shrinks the supply of stock, which makes it easier for the market to go up, and huge amounts of productivity gains. I mean, they're already painting houses and laying tar in the middle of Phoenix, Arizona, with not a single human being in sight, and it's fucking smooth as silk. So a lot of blue and white collars folks that have no personality, no emotional intelligence are going to be fucked. They're going to be replaced by a machine, an algorithm, a robot. But in the process of this melt up, corporate profits, as companies lay off a third, if not half of their workforce starting next year and the year after in particular, are going to go through the roof. And what happens when corporate revenue and earnings go through the roof and productivity goes through the roof? Stock market's going to fucking go ballistic. You have a chance over the next 8 to 10 years to make a fortune. We planted our seeds as low as 421 in the Qs. In my opinion, the market's going to be up 50% in the next 2 years or thereabouts. So you're talking about somewhere between 600 and 700, somewhere north of 300 on the IWM that we were buying as low as 197. And don't get me started on trading small cap or dare I say penny stocks, because now that the Fed is going to cut rates by 200 basis points between now and June, you're going to see crypto, even the shit coins selectively, and stocks that trade under $1 just ignite. In fact, we've already seen it in the last 3 or 4 days. We had 3 or 4 drawdowns that were north of 30%. All but 2 of them, including the Kraken being one, are gone. Gone. And I gave you Sophie as low as $6.16. Last trade, $7.89. That's a fucking $10 plus stock. When the Fed starts cutting rates September the 18th, which is Wednesday, flip a coin if it's going to be a half or 25. But 200 basis points, according to the futures market, are coming off. You're going to have mortgages down at 5%. Get away from these motherfuckers that are telling you we're going off a cliff or that we're heading into a recession. Wrong. Corporate earnings, revenue and earnings projections are being raised. Productivity is about to go skyward to levels we've never seen, including during the dot-com revolution of the late 90s. And once we do get through 2030, and we somehow hopefully avoid Project 2030, we may have a bit of a 100-year anniversary bear market, but I don't think it's going to be nasty. The last 5 years, that final melt-up, 1995 ISK to 2000 in the burst to 2034 or 5 are going to be epic. And that's going to be the time to get the fuck out of Dodge in stages. And you're going to need my help more than ever. And we'll be able to hedge ourselves. In fact, they've got new ETFs coming out where you can buy protection over a certain period of time, and they're not that expensive. The smart money knows we're going off a fucking cliff 10 years from now. Between now and then, that's when Social Security goes dry. That's when the entitlement drain is going to be wicked. That's when we're going to have $50 trillion worth of debt. Globally, the entire system, and China's already heading that direction, is going to be insolvent. But the start over phase coming out of that, assuming good Lord willing, I'm around in 2037, 38, is going to be just like post 1929. And when we got to the 1950s, it was fucking off to the races again. There'll be another bull market that comes after that, but it's going to be different. Why? Population's going to shrink. You've already seen testosterone rates plummeting. What I think offsets that, and I'll save it for another video so I can talk about Trump, is when they start chipping us, like Klaus Schwab said they're going to do by 2030. Yes, they'll know where you are because of the GPS technology, but they will be able to, in my opinion, and the evidence is already out there, to rewire your DNA. It probably helped many of you, especially children or children's children born in the next 20 years, live to be 150 years old. And if we're going to live twice as long, but have birth rates drop off a cliff, maybe it evens out in the end and we can continue to move higher for many, many decades to come. In closing, this is going to be a long video, probably 20 minutes, maybe longer. So if you don't have any interest around what I'm going to say now in reference to Trump and where I live in Atlanta, you can log off now. In 2016, I was still in corporate America, and a friend of mine says, I dare you to go down to Midtown, right in the middle of the hood, and wear this red MAGA hat. And you've never seen me wear one. And truth be told, I chickened out because I'd heard stories about white dudes getting the shit kicked out of them, or even worse, wearing that hat down there. Well, I got news for you now, folks, and I live here. I've been down there many times. When Trump got out of jail, guess where it was? Zone 6. That's the hood. The fucking black and brown folks were lining that street for miles. Why? Because he's now one of them. They've tried to sue him. They've tried to bankrupt him. And now they tried to kill him not once, but motherfucking twice after they arrested him in their town. Do you know how many black and brown young kids, gangsters, Chief Keef, Little Pump, Snoop Dogg, I got nothing but love for Trump, Kodak Black, all those guys are pushing millions of young black and brown kids towards Trump. If they ever succeed, I'm telling you right now, Rome is going to burn to the motherfucking ground. Because if you go down to Zone 6 right now, and anybody in Atlanta, back me up in the comments, you know it's true. What do you see on every 3 or 4 heads? A red hat cocked this way, tilted that way, red hanky. I mean, it's all over the place. I'd be the hey brother from another mother down there now. It wouldn't have been the case in 2016. I'd have gotten my ass kicked or worse. You think those guys, gangsters, are going to lay down if they succeed? Even if they just wound him, they hit him harder than a skim of the ear, they're going to want retribution. And bullets are going to be flying. And I don't condone any of that. And we all know that somebody's listening right now, right? They got me locked up already. I'm a tiny fucking upper middle class guy that just happens to give a shit, folks. But everything I'm certain I'm on some database at an organization that's 3 letters. There's no doubt. But I'm willing to risk my life, what's left of it, as a single man that doesn't have any kids, although I have, as many of you know, I'm a surrogate dad to a niece and a nephew who are doing fantastic, and my beautiful sister up the road. But if something happens to Trump, we are talking about tens of hundreds of billions of dollars of damage. What happened in Minneapolis ain't even going to come close. Ain't even going to come close. And the damage to our collective psyche worldwide, and arguably what's the most popular and, dare I say, most powerful guy on the fucking planet right now, would be catastrophic to say the least. And I'm not going to spend a half an hour saying, gee, how does a guy who lives in fucking Hawaii, was staying at some residence in North Carolina, suddenly end up at the hole at the exact time where number 45, soon to be 47, is just coming right up the fucking fairway, 300-400 yards away, an easy pop shot for someone who's got an AK and a fucking scope. And now that we know that he was as part of a whack job unit over a foreign fighter unit in Ukraine trying to recruit more psychopaths from Afghanistan, he would have taken him out. We were this close. This fucking close. I cannot stress enough, folks, if they succeed in taking him out or even hurting him in a big bad way, we are going to rue the day that we didn't have that guy surrounded by 15 layers of security. And you have to ask yourself, not only how did that guy get there, AKA who told him that Trump was golfing? It was impromptu. Somebody's got to be feeding a guy that's 2,000 miles away to be sitting there at that location because someone would have reported him. He was probably only there for minutes. How is that possible? There's got to be a snitch on the inside. Now, I personally think that his inner circle, and you've seen the same faces of his Secret Service, the tall guy with the brown hair, he's with him for the last 8 or 9 years. I don't doubt their loyalty, but I do doubt the swamp that's on the outside. So if they do succeed, what's going to happen to the stock market? 10 to 20% down within 2 days. Limit down, they'll have to close the stock market, in my opinion, just like they did in 9/11. In order for the public to assess the damage, the insurance companies will be going, oh my God, how many hundreds of billions of dollars of damage through gunfight and fires and looting. And it's going to be horrific. And we should all not want that to happen. So if I'm you, I wait. We have our limits inside of the Discord. I'm already all the way in. And if they take it down to 421, last trade 470, that's about a 10 to 15% pop. That's probably where we're going down. And it's possible. But at that point, I do believe the Fed, just like 9/11, they're going to step in with massive liquidity to stabilize the market. But we will never recover from this if they succeed. And I was so fucking livid last night, and I could talk for 5 hours about how they're trying to off this guy. He's imperfect. He's a narcissist of the highest order. All you got to do is accuse him of having small hands, a small penis. Remember when he tried to refute that one too? You go after anything about his ego and he can't help himself. That's a flaw to some degree. But anybody who doubts that this motherfucker's not a fighter, dude, and funny as hell, the 0-2, right? Most people be hiding in a bunker. He's joking about, I was 5 under at the time. Can you imagine what his grandkids are going through? Or his son, Barron, or God love Melania? It's got to be a fucking nightmare. Why did you do this, Donald? I don't know, because I've got to save the Western world. I don't want my kids having a chip. I don't want a social credit system like they have in fucking China where they lock your door if you say anything bad like this. Folks, it's coming. If we let that rabbit cooker and the gesticular, who would be the second in command, right? Tim A. Walls. I mean, I can't wait to see J.D. Vance just fucking eviscerate him on October 1st. But if those guys get into power and she obviously got the questions. Everybody knows it. We're fucked. They're puppets. Don't tell me that's the best we can do. They're puppets. They're the puppets for the Schwab and the layers behind the layers that we don't even see. Chip them. We may already have that. Digital currency, social credit system. But don't worry, for all you fucking beta males, you're going to get a marijuana allowance. They're going to legalize hardcore drugs here in the next few years. Next to come is prostitution. Oh, yeah. And then after that, the AI prostitutes, where Sarah-X69 will show up knocking on your door and say, I'll suck you off exactly the way you just wrote in on the menu. And then I'll go out in the parking lot, self-clean to 99.999% of bacteria and viruses removed so I can go on to the next guy. There's going to be a lot of fucking benefits of forced compliance. I know what I'm talking about. They've already gaslighted this. All of it's out there. They aren't even holding back. And when someone's getting shot at repeatedly, jailed, attempted bankrupt, he's over the target. He's over the target, the swamp. The CIA, the FBI. There's no doubt in my mind. And I think he's got a lot of friends, including the inner circle of the Secret Service. But he's going to need more. Because something tells me it ain't over yet. They're going to try again. And probably again. And even when he gets into power, they're probably going to try again. But I got to tell you, the more I watch JD Vance, did you see him take Dana Bash apart on fucking fake news CNN? I'm not that concerned. And when they form this cabinet of RFK and Tulsi and Vivek, who's sharp as a tack, and some of these others that are even considered independent or even Democrats, we'll be in good hands, God forbid anything happens. But I'm telling you right fucking now, if we are stupid enough to elect someone who would laugh at your mother's funeral, Willie Brown's side piece, who can't even put a coherent fucking sentence together unless she gets the questions ahead of time. You know it and I know it. Followed by those two fucking nut jobs putting tampons in the boys' bathroom, and don't get me started on her, versus Melania. Fuck you. And until next time, always remember that I love you. Thanks for watching.